final, and to one man it matters more than anyone else. It is number 2, the Austrian Andy Bentza, who is in second place in the European Championship, with the leader Martin Schenker out of contention, having blown his engine earlier. Now, Andy Bentza must win this heat in order to qualify for the final, from which you get points in the European Championship. But ahead of him, he's got the Cypriot British-based driver Dimi Mavropoulos in his Audi Quattro, and there he is. In front of him, he's got Rob Gibson, a very determined competitor, in his 3-litre Porsche. To his left, let's have a look at Rob Gibson. Actually had a lot of trouble with his door in a previous heat. It was coming open, and he was having to close the door and drive at the same time. And he'll be determined to keep it shut this time. In the background, Andy Bentza. John Welch is one of the top British drivers. He has won 4 British Championships this season. He's got a 500 horsepower turbocharged Ford Escort there with 2-wheel drive. It's a sort of mirror image in a way of Martin Schenker's car, except that it's got no front-wheel drive, and that's a big handicap here today, because when you get off the tarmac onto the chalk, it's very, very slippery indeed, particularly at Paddock Bend, where the contents of an extremely large puddle have been spread across the chalk and have turned it into a virtual skating rink. Gibson there. Nguyen is not coming out, apparently. So, just to check again, Mavropoulos is there, Gibson is there, Bentza, Welch, and Nguyen is trying to come out, but too late, because the lights go to green. 4.5 laps. Gibson leads, Mavropoulos second, Bentza third, John Welch in 4th position. They go into Cheshunt's Drift, which is about a 60 mile an hour, and Mavropoulos has got his nose rubbing right up against the rear of Gibson's car. Gibson will be livid about that, I suspect. Mavropoulos comes off the chalk onto the tarmac now. Bentza is up into second place, knowing, as I say again, that he's got to win this heat to qualify for the A final. Meantime, it is number 80 in the black Quattro. I think the only one in captivity in British Rallycross, and Mavropoulos has had a lot of trouble with it this year and has managed to put it right by putting in a special breather in the petrol system, something that cost a matter of pence and seems to have solved his problem. And Andy Bentza, you probably saw, go very wide indeed, and he's now down to 4th and last, and has probably thereby blown his chances of getting into the A final and closing the gap in the championship between himself and Martin Schenker. So, Mavropoulos leads. Up into second place now in the 500 horsepower Escort is John Welch. He could still make the A final, and if he makes the A final, he could win overall and get himself 20 European Championship points in the process. Number 22, Welch really throwing the Escort about. Comes from Aldershot, where he's got his own, and Welch goes through and pushes Mavropoulos into the puddle, nearly hits Mav's bank, comes through the chicane, and 100 miles an hour. That's how quickly they go through there, and that is where absolutely perfect car control is called for. Third in the British Championship in 1983, an enormous amount of continental and British success, and he's actually got a replica of Martin Schenker's car, 4-wheel drive, X-Track, with a 500 horsepower plus turbocharged engine, under construction now at a cost of some £60,000. Rallycross at the top level is very expensive. So, Welch leads. Mavropoulos is now being challenged for second place by Gibson. Ford Escort leads, Audi Quattro second, Porsche in third position, and in 4th place and closing is Andy Bentza. Andy Bentza is now sitting about Rob Gibson. Gibson in the yellow Porsche, and Bentza in the white and blue striped Audi Quattro. Now there's the battle for third position. 2 distinct groups. Andy Bentza has left it much too late. Of course, there is no way that he can possibly catch John Welch and thereby qualify for the A final, but he could avoid being last if he can get past Gibson. Streaking to 100 miles an hour down here. They don't even lift going into the right-hander at Paddock, but they scrub a lot of speed off. It's very, very slippery. They have to miss Mav's bank. And it looks like John Welch has got in his bed. Bentza's done it again. Bentza's lost it. That's the end for Andy Bentza. And here is the end, and a much happier one for John Welch, who wins the B final, goes through to the A final.